the stand. Now he runs. He produces a magic print. He pulls out another one. This is incredible. This is ridiculous. This is 15 out of 10 on the incredible meter. What a player. What an entertainer. Give him the medal. Give him the Delier medal.
Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast. We're back for the Saturday and Sunday games preview in this one. Of course, I'm not sure why any of you would be listening to these ones. If you listened to the last one and took any of my advice, any way I saw the games playing out or any of the bets I did, then if I were you, I'd just stay away from this because I did not go very well. I won't spoil everything I said, but yeah, definitely Go give that one a listen. You can see, just how it all played out. We're going to cover those games a bit more in depth in the reviews, though, so I won't spend too much time on that. For now, we'll just get straight into jumping into the first game that takes place on the Saturday, which, of course, is the Eels and the Bulldogs at 5:30 p.m. at CommBank Stadium. So, for this one, I have tipped the Eels, which inevitably means that the Bulldogs are going to win, if it's anything like my tips so far this round. Besides including the Vegas games, I've got one tip correct so far. So it hasn't been my best performance, but honestly, I think I'm not the only one in that boat. So yeah, we'll just look at this one. I think I've got to be confident. I'm going to remain confident that the Eels get away with this one. I think they're just a far stronger side than the Bulldogs, just across the board. I'm really still not convinced on this Bulldogs side. I think they're just lacking in too many areas, specifically the middle forwards, if you want to note that. But also I'm not convinced in the halves. The more I watch Matt Burton, the less I'm convinced that he is, I want to say his best position is 5'8", but he's not convincing me. And then, what do you do then? You move him into the centres, you're losing some of your gun centres. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure about the Bulldogs team. And I think, they've got a lot. It's another year of rebuilding, a lot more new players coming in. It will take time to build those combinations. I think they will be improved based on their 2023 season. But I still don't think they can come away with a win against the Parramatta side, who I think are out. They still think they're a premiership candidate, and I think they're going to be out to just prove the haters wrong in this one. It's at home, not that at home matters between these teams. They're very close in Sydney. But yeah, I've got the Eels coming away with the victory in this one. In terms of how I see the game playing out, I just think they're going to be too strong through the forward pack. I think they're going to play through that, a lot. And just the way Mitch Moses and Dill Brown played in those trials, I think they're going to have a lot of opportunity and touch the ball a lot just based on the back of their forward pack, getting some offloads away and winning field position. I was especially impressed with Junior Paulo in the trials, so I like the idea of him coming off the bench. I'm not sure if they need to do it against this one, against the Bulldogs in this one, but I really liked how he played and just the second phase footy that he provided for the team. I think Jamal Hopgood looked incredible, and Cartwright, etc. I just think that Eels forward pack is going to pose too much of a threat to this Bulldogs one. So that's where I think, the Eels' points are going to come off the back of winning field position with a dominant forward pack, and Mitch Moses and Dill Brown are just going to absolutely run the show from there. They're going to have their hands on the footy a lot, and that's just sort of how I see this one playing out. I am honestly thinking Eels 13 plus on this one, but it could be a little bit closer than that. I'm confident that they get the win. But I was also super confident the Warriors got the win and the Panthers got the win and et cetera, et cetera. So, take what I say with a grain of salt at this point. But in terms of the bets that I have on for this game, I do have Parramatta with the 13 plus score. I've got Dylan Brown as an anytime try scorer, and I've got the match going over 40.5 total match points. And that comes to a multi of $10. So for all of those who don't know your betting, that means if you're placing $1 on that bet, you're winning $10 back. So, obviously the more you put on, the more you win or lose. So, yeah, let's just make sure that we're, once again, gambling responsibly. But yeah, I like Parramatta win 13 plus. I think there have been some bludgers. There have been some low-scoring games so far this round one. I think this one might be the difference. I think Defensively, both of these teams have a few lapses in them, and I still think, that Bulldogs team, still finding themselves, finding their footing, finding their combinations. The Eels might be able to expose that a bit, and, they're already a pretty darn good attacking side. Both these sides do have a lot of points in them, so I do see it going over that total match points. And, Dill Brown, I've said he's been in for a big season this year. I think everybody believes the same thing there. I'm not going to claim that I was the one who started that, but off the back of his controversies and everything last year, I think he's going to really want to step up and repay the faith that the Eels have shown in him. And I think it starts in round 1, and I think he might cross himself over for a try in this game. So I like him as an anytime try scorer there. I have been sort of looking for a matchup that I like in this game, between players in certain positions. And there's not too much that has really caught my eye. Stephen Crichton will play right centre. Will Penasini will be right centre, so they're not even going to match up. I'm not sure. Let's go, let's go the 5/8. I think, Matt Burton, he might come out and prove me wrong. I've just criticised him a wee bit. I still think Matt Burton's a great player. Don't get me wrong, guys. I just think it's been a tough time for the Bulldogs, and I'm starting to worry a little bit more about him. But every chance he comes out and proves me wrong, as everyone has done this season so far. So, I like the idea of Matt Burton and Dill Brown as the matchup that I'm most interested to watch in this one. But I believe that just about does us for this game. Yeah, as I said, do see the Eels coming away with a win. They could win well. They might win close, but I'm confident that they win full stop. So that's how I see this one playing, guys. So we'll move on to the next game on the Saturday, which, of course, is the Titans and the Dragons, taking place at 7:35 p.m. at Cbus Super Stadium in the Gold Coast. So how I sort of see this one playing out, I have actually tipped the Dragons in this one, a team that myself and, a lot of other people have tipped more or less for the wooden spoon, or at least, bottom few clubs down the bottom of the ladder. And the Titans I've sort of been really high on coming into this year. I really like their squad across the board. I love the acquisition of Des Hasler as coach. I think he'll bring that defensive steel to them. I really like the Titans this year. However, I loved what I saw from the Dragons in the trials. A lot of people weren't impressed with that first trial, the Charity Shield against the Rabbitohs. I actually was. I think, once they sort of took a bit of their players off and everything, they got blown away a little bit. But the defensive steel and just the attitude that they came out with in that game, I was really impressed with. And they carried that on until the second trial, where I thought they were really, really bloody good. I love, Shane Flanagan as the signing of coach for them as well. So a couple of new coaches here. That could be the matchup of the round, is just two new coaches. But no, I've actually got the Dragons winning this one, but I'm not overly confident on it. It's just an upset that I really liked for this round. I'm not sure how their season goes overall. I'm still not the biggest on the Dragons, but I think they're going to start the season really tough and really strong. And I think their defense is going to be really brittle. Not brittle? Brittle's the wrong word. I think their defense is going to be very durable, is probably what I'm trying to, what I was trying to say there. I think they will just defend really well, especially for a round 1 game with Shane Flanagan at the helm. I do think the Titans have a lot of attacking weapons across their entire team. They are missing, David Fafita, which is always a big out for them. I know the Dragons have just lost Blake Laurie as well, was ruled out last night. So looking at their team list now, Jack de Belin has moved to prop. Tom Eisenhuth from second row to lock, and Raymond Faitala-Mariner, who they've signed over from the Bulldogs, has been put into that second row spot to start for the Dragons. I don't mind that. I don't know how much of an impact that has on their team. Obviously, you'd prefer to have Blake Laurie out there. I thought he was the Dragons' best last season, but I think they've still got a good team across the board. Of course, Ben Murdoch-Masila also comes onto their bench to replace Laurie, so he's the 18th. Well, he's named at 18th, but he's now on their bench. I don't know. There's just something about this game that I think the Dragons have got it. But as I said, there's a lot of attacking weapons in this Titans team. Keanu Keeney, who I think is going to have a big game. AJ Brimson in the centres. You've got your halves set in stone and Foreign Boyd, and you've got an incredible forward pack with Fodawaker, Fahasur Malawi, and Keenan Paliasia, who is playing lock in this one. look, there is a lot to be excited about, Titans fans. I just think, I don't know, round one, I just think the Dragons are going to come out with defensive resolve. And I do think the Titans, I wasn't really impressed with them across their trials. So maybe that's something I'm reading into. I know trials aren't everything. And yeah, I'm coming into this saying Dragons impressed me and Titans didn't. And that's why I'm choosing the Dragons. But, you know, there are some things to take out of it. Definitely not my most confident tip for the round, but hey, none of my tips have turned out very well, so I may as well go for an upset. In fact, I'm pretty sure every game this round has been an upset. You know what? Let's just have a quick look at that. Pause with me. Seagulls won, they were the underdogs. Roosters won, they were the underdogs. Raiders won, they were the underdogs. Sharks won, they were the underdogs. Storm won, they were the underdogs. There you go. So may as well just start picking all of the underdogs for the round. The favourites are not getting many victories. In saying that, I've got Eels winning, but I'm going to go my underdog pick here with the Dragons. The matchup I like the most, there's a few across this one. I'm really intrigued to see Keanu Keeney and Tyrell Sloan, both, you know, young players who haven't really stamped their authority in their positions, be it in a few different circumstances. You know, Keeney hasn't really had the opportunity, stuck behind AJ and Jaden Campbell for that role, and Tyrell has just never really fully grasped it. But they're both young, they're both incredible attacking players. I'm intrigued to see how they match up. I really like the centre duel, Brian Kelly and AJ Brimson up against Sully and Bird. I think is just really... They're all very different players, but I think they're really exciting and they have such a good edge for their clubs and what they bring exactly what their clubs need of them. I think, yeah, there's so much to like in this one. In terms of the bets, however, the multi I have for this one is it's something. So I have St George Illawarra to cover the line, which is a 5.5 line. So for those of you who don't know, if the Dragons lose by, say, 5 points, let's say 4 points, 5 points is unlikely. If they lose by 4 points, but I've got this line where they have a plus 5.5, they are still winning, like that leg still pays out. Basically, it's giving them a 5.5 point head start. So they can lose by 5 points, but because of that 5.5, they still tick that leg off, tick that as a win. So I've got them to cover the line there of 5.5. I've got Jaden Sewer as an anytime try scorer, someone who I've been really big on throughout the trials and the preseason. I like what I see of Jaden Sewer, and I think he could go pretty well against their second rowers. You know, Bo Fermor coming off a lengthy injury layoff and Cleese Haas filling in for David Fafita. I think Jaden Sewer, whichever edge he sort of lines up on, we're not too sure with how it's all shaped up. You know, I just think he could give them a bit of a bath in defence. And the last leg of the multi I have is the match to go under 43.5 total match points. Round one, grindy times. I know Titans are very much an attacking team, but I think Des Hasler is going to try and change that a bit and just let them steal up their defence a bit. So I do see it going under 43.5 match points. And that multi there comes to $17. So once again, if you put $1 on that and you win $17 for every dollar. So it's pretty darn good value, that one. Definitely my most, out there multi of the round. There's something about Jaden Sewer, which is definitely the value leg of the bet, which I'm really intrigued by. So I like that for a bit of a bet there. Remember, as I always say, gamble responsibly. Don't bet what you cannot afford. And I am doing all of this through the Sportsbet app. So some of these markets may not be up on other betting apps. If you're looking to follow what I'm doing, which, I wouldn't recommend, but if you want to, get on it. I've won one of my multis so far across this round, which still puts me up at a net positive. So we're going all right. But if you're going to do all that, do it through the Sportsbet app, because that is what I do, and other betting agencies might not have the markets that Sportsbet does. In saying that, once again, I'm not affiliated with Sportsbet. They're just the agency I choose to bet through. Alas, we will move on to the final game of the round. This is the Sunday match, of course, putting it into this preview as well, between the Dolphins and the Cowboys, taking place 4:05 p.m. at Suncorp in Brisbane. So, the Dolphins and Cowboys, I am going to go for the favourites again. I think Cowboys are just I think they're too good of a side. I'm really, really excited about the Cowboys this year. Definitely a side that I think makes it into the top 8. I think they've had a couple odd years under Todd Payton, making the finals pretty easily in that first year and then falling out and having a down year last year. I just think that this year they've got that experience under their belts. They know what's expected of them now, and they've got no excuses. And I just like what I see from them. I like what I saw from them in the trials. I like the changes that they're making to the roster. The appointment of Tom Dearden and Ruben Cotter as your captains, 2 players who just sort of live and breathe Cowboys, in my opinion. They've just got everything that it takes to be a Cowboy about them. Halem Lukey, Jeremiah Nanai, your explosive young second rowers. Tamalolo now a prop. I love this Cowboys side top to bottom. So I have them winning this one. I do think Dolphins are in for an improved year. They had an incredible debut season in the NRL. I was really, really impressed. Of course, I tipped them for the Wooden Spoon last year, and I think they ended up about 13th, which isn't too far off, but anybody who watched the season knows that what they did was so much better than where they were placed on the ladder. They were really impressive, and I do think they improve. They've got incredible acquisitions of Herbie Farnworth and Tom Flegler. Of course, losing Tom Gilbert once again to injury for the season it's gutting. It's heart-wrenching. It really is. So that one's always really tough. They've named Ray Stone in the lock forward position to replace him for this game. Could potentially do that throughout the season. We'll have to see how that one goes. But I do think Cowboys get away with it. I'm not quite sure of the line or if it's going to be a really high scoring game. This one's probably my hardest one to pick of the round. The Dolphins, you never really know what you're going to get from them, but then you've got Wayne Bennett as the coach, and he came out, last year, would they win the first 3 games in a row or something? Then they lost to the only other undefeated side, which was the Broncos. So they came out incredible out of the blocks last year. Could they do that again? I have no doubt that they could, but I'm going to just trust my gut and back the Cowboys in for this one. In terms of matchups, again, a lot across the board. I like the matchup of Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Scotty Drinkwater, the 2 fullbacks in this one. I also really like Herbie Farnworth, who's going to be playing on the right. He'll be matching up against, is it Val Holmes? No. Yeah, Val Holmes. I love that matchup. I really like the idea of Herbie going up against Val. That one's 2 superstar centers. I really like that. I also like Jack Bostock and Murray Taulagi. I'm not sure they're up against each other on the wings. No, I don't think they are. They're both left wingers, but 2, really tall, rangy wingers, so they could both have a few similar involvements in the game despite not matching up against each other. Yeah, there's a few in this. I'm also really intrigued to see how Tamalolo goes at prop. Someone I've always loved and really rated. I didn't like the look of him. Let's be honest, I didn't like the look of him at all in the trials, but I think, with Cohen Hess's injury as well, he's going to have to step up in a big way, and I hope he does. There's a lot of question marks around him and his price tag, etc. So let's hope he actually has a really good game in this one. But definitely my pick for matchups is Herbie Farnworth and Val Holmes and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Scott Drinkwater. I love those matchups for this game. Very exciting players, so very keen to see how they run at each other. In terms of the bets, the multi I have placed for this game, I've actually gone from my biggest value bet, my biggest value multi of the week into my least valuable multi, but because I'm really not sure on how this game goes, this is sort of how I've just bet on this one. I have no idea how it's going to go, but for the multi for the Cowboys and the Dolphins, I've got the North Queensland Cowboys winning head-to-head. I haven't gone for a 13+ or a 1-12. I just have them winning because I'm not sure how it plays out. I've got Herbie Farnworth from the Dolphins as an anytime try scorer. Of course, he scored in both games in the trials, and I think they're going to target his edge a lot. I do think Valentine Holmes, normally a pretty darn good defensive player, has had a few deficiencies in coming years or recent years, I suppose. And I think Herbie is just going to be a target for that Dolphins team, and I do think they can put him over for a bit of a try. And in terms of the total match points, I've gone over 42.5. which is, I think the market was spot on the money with how this one's going to go. It's really tough to bet. Both over 42.5 and under 42.5 total match points was paying $1.90, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be. You can go under and do your alternative match points if you want, but then the multi's even less money, because this one only comes to $8. So for every $1 you're placing, you're winning $8 back. Definitely not the greatest value in this one, and it's a multi that I'm not the most confident in. But so, if I was to recommend any of you follow any of these bets, this one isn't my favorite one, but it's something that it's the most likely of the things that I saw to happen. Another one I liked as a try scorer was Halem Lukey, but I believe he'll be running against Felice Kafusi's edge, and I think Felice will do a really good job on him defensively, so I decided to avoid that one. But yeah, that's the multi I have for this one. Once again, I'll say it every time, but make sure we're gambling responsibly. Do not bet what you cannot afford. It's just for a bit of fun, and if you jump on any of these bets that I place and they don't get up, it is not my fault. You are choosing to do that, so don't come at me. So that one wraps us up for the review, or the previews for the Saturday and Sunday games. Really excited about these games. It's been a tough old week. Definitely some interesting results across the entire week, and even last week with the Vegas matches. But I'm excited to see how the rest of round one plays out. And once again, I'm going to plug the Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, go check me out, Chip and Chase Podcast on Instagram. Going to be more content. It's been a bit slow on there recently, just from my perspective of uploading things. I'm still trying to, work things out and think of a few more things to post on there consistently. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, please, give me a follow, give me a message, and, let me know things that you'd like to see on there, but definitely go check that out. There will be more content in between the days that podcasts are out, and even just things that I'll cover on there that I won't cover on podcasts. So go check that out. But that wraps us up for now. So thank you guys for tuning into this one, and I'll catch you guys next time.